Hello, everybody. I'm Erin. For my final paper, I chose to focus on the topic of racism during the early 1900s. Um, More specifically, I actually chose to focus on the author Griffith, who wrote a popular book that was called The Birth of a Nation. Um, in his in this, he went over real life events that happened, and a lot of those included racist acts, and he got a lot of criticism for it. And although people called him racist, he defended himself by saying, I'm not racist. I was just depicting real life events that were happening at the time. Um, I didn't start out by picking this specific primary source. I actually went to the Gavilan Library and um, went through many books and found that nothing had a primary source with enough information for me that I would be able to um, take and get a good research paper out of. So after struggling for a bit, I went to a librarian and asked him, hey, can you help me out? And he said, sure. He recommended the online Gavilan Library. In that way, I could go to the history context underneath the Gavilan Library online and actually search for a specific primary source. And after doing that, many different primary sources popped up, and I saw one on racism and one related to Griffith and his book that he wrote and movie that he produced. And I thought, hey, this is perfect. So that's how I found my primary source. Coming up with a thesis for my source. I'm horrible at coming up with thesis, something I struggle with. But for this topic, what I found useful was to just narrow the subject down and figure out what the main what the writing was about. And for me, I decided, okay, well, it's talking about Griffith and people who agree with his argument and people who disagree with him and think that he's racist. So my thesis was around the idea that he was, in fact, either racist or not racist. And so that's how I was able to narrow that down. I liked my source a lot because there are many different ways to interpret it. You can look at it from someone who's a critic, or you can look at it from Griffith's point of view, and you can branch off into many different areas. And because of this, I found it actually fairly easy to write about, because once I started with this thesis, it's like everything started to click and ideas started to come and flow, and it worked out really well. I found it helpful to research and find my own primary source because it's a skill that I hadn't learned before. I've taken English classes, and to actually look for a source that was specifically written during that time, a primary source, was something that I definitely struggled with, and is now a skill that I can say that I have. So overall, writing or coming up with all the points for my research essay has been very helpful, and I've learned many skills, and which is great because now I can use those to continue my education. All right, thanks for watching.